Space is indeed pretty vast, but the fact that only 3 individuals have died in space out of the 561 people who have traveled outside Earth can be considered a marvel in itself, as space is utterly unfriendly to human existence. 5 times as many people have died in explosions or crashes when taking off from or re-entering the atmosphere of our planet. The 3 heroic astronauts that have perished in orbit were Vladislav Volkov, Viktor Patsayev, and Georgy Dobrovolsky. On the Soyuz 11 flight in June 1971, all 3 of them perished. While Soyuz 11 ended in tragedy, the mission as a whole advanced magnificently. The very first space station built by Russia, Salyut 1, was home to Volkov, Dobrovolsky, and Patsayev for 23 days, breaking the previous record for the longest stay in space. The daring cosmonauts dazzled Russians back on Earth by providing live television broadcasts throughout their voyage, inspiring them and showing them a promising future. The first person to use a telescope in space was Patsayev. He used the UV telescope aboard the station to create spectrograms of the stars Vega and Beta Centauri, which were later printed in the journal Nature. The tragedy struck the astronauts on June 30th, while they waited to re-enter Earth's atmosphere while sitting in the Soyuz descent module without protective gear. As the Russians were awaiting the cosmonauts' return, space officials were unaware of the dangerous predicament as the Soyuz 11 module calmly reached Earth. There was no reason to suspect anything was wrong as the re-entry appeared to have gone off without a hitch. The aura of celebration was quickly tainted by the opening of the Soyuz hatch. Rescuers saw a gruesome scene. Kerim Kerimov recalled that when they arrived, they discovered that all 3 men in their sofas were lifeless, with dark blue spots on their cheeks and trails of blood from their nostrils and ears. Any attempts they made at trying to save them went in vain. What might have happened is that their cabin air leaked out into space and was replaced by a total vacuum in which no human could survive for longer than 90 seconds. The men probably died due to lack of air. The 3 astronauts in that dire situation would have had no more than 15 seconds to locate and patch up the hole in their damaged spaceship before their blood vessels ruptured from the pressure difference, rendering them blind and deaf. The cosmonauts' deaths rapidly made international headlines, even if the exact details of their deaths weren't made public until a few years later. In a 2013 piece, Ben Evans described the incidents. The tragedy sparked an extraordinary wave of melancholy across Russia. People sobbed openly in the streets for 3 men who had been appearing nightly on their television screens for more than 3 weeks. These astronauts, who were being portrayed as real people rather than icy, faceless supermen, had given a clear message that Russia, the then Soviet Union, has made a huge statement in the manned space business and was clearly leading the race. But even after all that success, all that was left with the Soviet people were 3 dead bodies at their funerals instead of 3 heroes with wide smiles, decked out with medals and flower garlands. NASA authorities received reports far earlier, and within a month they had thoroughly examined all windows, valves, hatches, fittings, and wiring in the Apollo lunar and command modules, or, in other words, anywhere that might leak. Additionally, NASA and Roscosmos started mandating that astronauts had to wear pressurized suits throughout other mission phases, particularly during their descent. We have lost 3 brave men in space in the face of new discoveries and challenges space. But on the other hand, it is also a blessing that we have only 3 people in space out of the 561 people that have been outside our planet. Therefore, we have to focus on the positives while taking as many precautions as possible. Hey, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe while you are at it.